Well, hello, everybody. I am glad to see so many familiar faces and some new faces. My name is Laura Welch, and I am president of the Illinois National Organization for Women. I am a Naperville resident, about 2 miles south, or wait, no, about half a mile south of the DuPage County border. And so I am thrilled to be here with you, and most especially with my buddy and dear friend, Ken Mejia Beal. So I just wanted to give you a little information on who he is. I know most of you know him, but he's a pretty special guy. This I found very interesting. Ken has been an HIV/AIDS activist for quite a while, and he was added to the Smithsonian Museum of African American History in 2019, and I think that's really cool. Didn't know that. He's been a senior contributor and a writer for Patriot Not Partisan, and the Illinois leader of Demcast. He is part of the People's Lobby DuPage as the Fair Tax Advisor, because we all know he's wonderful at the financial stuff that some of us aren't so good at. He's worked on over 70 campaigns at the municipal level to the presidential level. And he himself was a former candidate, and we've got to get him back there. In the, I believe, was it the 37th?
42nd.
42nd. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
And he's the first openly LGBTQ person to run for state office in DuPage. We need to make some changes there and get some more folks in so that we get better representation for everyone, especially our young people. And you all know his humor. He's a wonderful storyteller. He's performed at a bunch of festivals and was a headliner at the Chicago's Filet of Solo.
Filet of Solo.
Filet of Solo. That sounds pretty cool. And then, of course, an Equality Illinois advisory member, the first resident of DuPage to be added, and also a Howard Brown Health Council member, which is both of which are incredible LGBTQIA plus organizations. And he's also with the NAACP. I encourage those of you who are not to join. He is the environmental chair there, the first one. And he is the first Black chair of the Democratic Party of DuPage County, and the first chair under 40, putting the rest of us old folks to shame there, Ken, in DuPage, and of course the first openly LGBTQIA plus chair. So it is my pleasure to be here with you, Ken.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Always.
I'm exhausted just listening.
It's hard to keep up with you, but you're young.
I'm tired. This is over. Let's go to bed, guys.
All right. Well, Ken, I know you wanted to give a little bit of an update on what's been going on for about the past 90 days since you've been in office for 90 days. Can you give us some updates?
Approximately 90 days. So once again, I want to thank everyone that came out and voted for me. And we did make a lot of history, and I'm proud of all of it, but especially being the first openly LGBT chair in the state's history is a huge honor, and it's something I don't take lightly. It means a lot to me. So a few campaign promises I made were having better relationship with our elected officials. What I've done is I have the kind of relationship with the majority of our officials now where they pick up a phone, they call me. Today I spoke to 12 of our elected officials just before this call, within our county board, within our, so I spoke to several county board members. I had a quick call with the governor today. I had a quick call with a few of our state senators. So having that communication is important to me. It's something I promised to do. It's something I'm doing. Also, better fundraising. So our holiday party per capita, because of the COVID cap, was the most successful holiday party we've had in recent history. Lots of folks came out. We sold out. So I'm proud of our fundraising. Our outreach, we've really, really increased that. The one thing I said a lot when I was running, that we've done that I'll get into, but I feel that our party has a lot of allies that we need to connect with on a level where we don't say, hey, I'm a Democrat, support me, but to say your cause is our cause. We have a great engagement chair. His name is Terrell Barnes, and he has been working super hard and doing a lot. And I couldn't do it without him. So that's something that we've done. Our diversity is something that we were lacking here in DuPage. So right now I have a lot of things in the air, but one of the really cool things that I'm doing is in every township there is a person who advises me on what I should be doing, what would make things operate smoothly. And I can tell you that out of those 9 people, we have an array, different ages, nationalities, gender. We have a non-binary advisor, so we have that diversity, and we have a very impressive candidate list coming up in 2022 that's very diverse. And the reason I push for diversity, because I want to be clear, I don't look for people that are different. I look for people with the right skill set that have been skipped over because they are different. And that's what I really try to drive home when folks say, well, Ken, diversity is great, but we're all different. It's like, yeah, we are all different. But some of us have been skipped over because of those differences. And that is something I wanted to touch on as chair. Um, we did not have an office. We have an office um, that will be opening on February 26th. Also, something that I want to talk about really quickly on February 26th, something that really drives me crazy is often as a party, we ask people to do and to give and to the party. But I think as Democrats, we have to give back to the community. That's who we are. So on February 26th, we are partnering with Teen Parent Connection, and we're collecting unscented baby wipes, diapers, sanitary products, pacifiers, journals, and we're setting up in 5 or 6 different locations around DuPage. And we are going to orchestrate the largest petition slash donation drive that the Democratic Party has ever done, because giving back is important. And before we jump into the questions, I do have to say, I have a great people around me. And I have to give them all a shout out right now, because if I don't, I don't want anybody to think that this is a one-man show. So Ann Summercamp, our executive director, Erica Green, Ilsa Mesner, Steve Seimer, Joanne Tyree, Terrell Barnes, um, all have been super wonderful in helping me set up for this position. Mary Jo Mullen, Dan Hebriard have helped me with navigating legislative roles and kind of keeping me kiltered and letting me know this is what works, this is what doesn't work. Jessica Harabaum, Gautam Bada, Greg Jose, Greg Martucci, Sarah Quinn, Sarah Quinn. I don't want to leave off anybody because then I'll be in trouble. This is why you should never name people. One second. Jessica Heyerbaum, Sarah Quinn, Greg Martucci, Greg Jose, Tina Tyson Dunn, got him, yes, have all been so helpful within their township and helping me to help them within their township. So we have townships and we all should be working in a unified manner. And Martin McManaman, there we go. Can't forget Marty and Wayne. And they have all kind of gathered around me and given me so much positivity, so much light, so much strength. And they've really shared their township with me, which is something I don't think that has been done prior. So I have to thank them for that, because I really do. When bad things are happening, I don't feel like it's happening to me. I genuinely feel like it's happening to our party. And when good things happen, I feel like it's happening to our party because I have such a strong team around me. And a special shout out to Sue Sidden, who is our adopted member of the team. She keeps me afloat. And Kim Savage. And now I'm done.
That's a long, you know what, you're lucky. That's a long list of
I
wonderful
have a
people to
lot
be
of
working with.
very supportive people that
Kidding.
I can go to at the drop of a hat, and they will say, let's get it going, Ken." I'm
That's
very
awesome.
lucky. I'm very lucky.
Well, you know, two things, and then we'll go to the questions. I think representation is immensely important. Um, and, you know, I always look to the littlest to have young people see themselves and what they can achieve. You know, whether they're a person of color, whether they're a person of LGBTQIA plus. You know, I think that's the thing that with everything that is pounding down on our school boards and whatever, um,
Yes,
what you're doing and having a non-binary niece, having that sorry, having that representation is very important personally to me. And then I also love the fact, sorry, I get very emotional.
no, it's
Um,
okay.
the fact that you are paying attention to period poverty, which is one of our things that people tend to forget. It affects, again, young people. If
Yes,
a young person doesn't have access to sanitary products, it affects their education and therefore their future. So that was my
absolutely.
little soapbox. And that was, that's one of them. Um, Tell me a little bit more about how you see the organization working in the municipal elections and kind of what roles are changing or kind of where you see that in the future.
Sure. So this is what we've traditionally done is we as a party have not really been invested in municipal races. And it's not because of a party thing. This is throughout our state. Municipals are typically nonpartisan races. So you have candidates that really don't want the party getting involved. But something that I'm working on with, um, if I can just say this, the best damn vice chair in this entire state, Pam Pimtosi, is how we can actually help in these municipal races the candidates that want it. So with our school boards, and we all know what's happening in our school board system is atrocious. We have to
Mm,
help these folks, and we have to where we are planning to pick up the slack is if we can get in and help our people get elected, what we do is we bridge to that gap from saying, well, it's nonpartisan, we're hands off to, yes, it's nonpartisan, but these folks represent our democratic values. So,
mhm.
something that we need to do and we will be doing, we're definitely going to knock doors for candidates in the municipal. We're going to support them, we're going to enrich them, those that want it. And that's important to note because not everyone is going to want to be labeled a Democrat or a Republican based on what they're running for, what area they're in. And we understand that. But those that want our help, we're going to be in to help them.
I think I like the way you couched it in values
Yes,
because it certainly has created quite a split there. But and then tell me a little bit about the vice chairs and the township chairs. What is it that they do, and how do you see improved relations there? And um,
sure. So with our township chair, so DuPage County is broken up into townships. So every township has a Democratic Party and a chair. What our township chairs do is they really are the ear and the eye to the street. My job is to look at the entire county as a whole and make decisions based on what is best for our county as a whole. But when you get into the kind of break it down, what you realize is every township has different needs, a different need assessment, if you will. And I am not a know-it-all. So I need our township chairs to say, hey, Ken, in this township, this is what we need, and this is what we don't need. It's actually more important, equally important to tell me what you need and what you don't need. Because it's kind of like if you water a cactus just as often as you water. I am really bad with plants, and it's going to show right now. And I don't know why I'm using a plant analogy. If you water a cactus as much as you water a daisy,
Uranium.
there. Thank you, Christine. Um,
Welcome.
you're going to have a dead cactus or a
yes,
dead geranium. So it's about getting in there and figuring out what every individual township needs and how they can work with me. Now, with our chairs, we have outreach and engagement. We have our union liaison, we have our governmental affairs, we have our treasurer, of course, and these are our chair positions. And what they do is they really work with me in these particular fields. They work with me in what we should be doing in this particular area. Because one person cannot be the chair of a party in a county this large and do everything by themselves. It would be a gross display of ego if one person attempted to do this job by themselves.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I reach out. I'm very much like, hey, help me get to where we're going. And what that means is we all take pride in the work that we do. And that's what a party should be about. A party shouldn't be one person saying, look at how great I am. A party should be a group of people saying, look at what we accomplished and
Mhm.
inviting more people in.
You know what? I love that, and I love the notion that the county is not homogenous. And
No,
I think so often, that we ask the people to adhere to what we believe versus us adhering to what they believe and what they
yes.
need. So I think that's incredibly important. And moving on a little bit to that, we do have some divisions within our own party,
Mhm.
which is, from the local level all the way up to the federal level. And so talk to me a little bit about that, and what do you think that we can do as a party to kind of heal those divides, not worrying about the other side of the aisle right now, but more specifically in our own house.
So this is going to be a very unpopular answer, and it probably will get me in a little trouble, but I'm being honest. So here we go. There are people that are in this party that probably shouldn't be. This probably is not the party for them. And that's okay. That is okay. I have friends that in 2016 were members of the Republican Party, and they kept saying, these aren't my values, these aren't my values, these aren't my values. So my answer to that was, well, then leave. You can leave. So and some of them did, and they're not Democrats, they're independent, or they're libertarian, or they're Green Party. But there are people within our party that don't believe in diversity. They don't believe in equality or equity. Get out. This is not the party for you anymore. Take your baggage and go somewhere else. I'm not saying you have to be a Republican. Whatever you choose to do with your path is your business. However, this might not be the party for you. So getting those folks out actually helps with party unity, number one. Number two, helping with party unity. Where we as a party are starting to fail, especially in DuPage, I'm only going to talk about DuPage, is DuPage went from being, I believe, the second reddest county in the country behind Orange County to a purple area. So in 2016, a lot of folks became activated. And they came to the table with a bunch of ideas of what we can do to make the party better. And then in 2018, we won big. And those same people, their ideas shifted to beliefs. And when you have a belief is harder to change. Like someone with an idea can sit down and through a course of conversation can change their idea based on the information in front of them. Beliefs are different. People tend to hold on to their beliefs and they get very antagonistic when you try to take their beliefs away from them. So as a party to stop the infighting after we get, the bad Democrats out, we have to go back to having a good set of ideas and understanding this is my idea. It might need to change. It might need to be adjusted. It might be a really bad idea and being okay with that. As a human, I'm fallible. I've had some ideas and I've thrown them out there and I've had folks say, Ken, that is the dumbest idea I think I've ever heard in my life. And I say, really? And they say, yeah. And I say, okay, then we're not going to do that. But it's about having an idea and understanding that it's not written in stone. It's not written in cement. You have to be able to change. That's how we fix the infighting in the party, getting the bad Democrats out that don't reflect our values, that are in it for themselves, and being more flexible and going back to ideas.
I really like that. I think,
Thank you.
that's definitely where you see, in my opinion, the difference between our party and the other major party. It is not
Yes.
just about us. And that's kind of a personal mantra of mine personally. And I think the people on this call would agree that it's not just about us.
No,
Um,
it's not.
yeah, and I like the concept of ideas versus beliefs.
We have to keep that in the front of our mind, because I do believe in certain things. We all have beliefs that we will not change. But when we're coming to the table, a political table, with a set of things, we have to make sure we have some ideas in there. Because if you
Mhm,
don't, you end up throwing the baby away with the bathwater and nothing gets accomplished.
mhm. And if you're going to have an idea, make sure that you're willing to follow through on it, um,
Absolutely.
or find the people that will work with you.
Yes,
Yeah. If
100%.
you mentioned when the party was going to have an office, didn't you?
February
You said
26th is the day that it
okay. That's
opens.
what I thought. Okay.
It is in
Um,
Carroll Stream.
Carol's. So let's move away from those issues, and I want to talk a little bit about you because you're one of my
Yay.
favorite subjects. Um, so you've
I'm
been
going to be
politically active.
honest.
You've been politically active for quite a while. Tell me, how did that help? How does that help in your role of being the chair?
Um, I I think it helps because I'm used to a lot of the negative and the positive of politics. I've been politically active since I was so March 13th will be my 14th year in politics.
Oh
I
my God,
started when I was in
you
my
know
very
that.
early 20s, March 14th. Um, and what I've learned in this journey is that you have to be a gracious winner and a gracious loser. You're going to walk into rooms where people are simply not going to be receptive, and you can't let it get you down. You have to understand that that is just a room. I stumbled into politics. Politics was never something I wanted to be a part of, at all. I was an HIV/AIDS activist, and I went to um, Chicago alderman's office, who shall remain unnamed, and I was talking about different HIV and AIDS policies, and they said, "Well, young man," he cut me off immediately. He said, "Young man, um, you need to go to the north side. That's where all the gays are. That's where you need to talk about HIV. We don't have that issue on the south side." And
Lord.
it was a blow to the gut, because here I am, openly LGBT, advocating in your office where I live. By the way, I'm a South Sider, and you're telling me I'm in the wrong place. That situation, I left angry, but it taught me what that moment taught me is that even people that you think are going to be on your side are probably, or they might not be, and you have to be prepared for that, because labels, because this was a Democrat, this was a progressive, this was, all these things, but the door was closed in my face when I was talking about a very important issue. Um, uh, because it's important to remember, yesterday was HIV/AIDS Black American Day, and within the next 10 to 15 years, it's projected that 50% of all uh, gay Black men will be diagnosed with HIV or AIDS. 50%, 50, half. Also, 47% of all new HIV and AIDS cases are happening in Black and Brown communities. 47%. So when you talk about that and you go to the community, you think you're going to have that like, yeah, let's help, but you don't always get that. So jumping into politics, doing this for so long, I'm prepared to win. I'm prepared to lose. I'm prepared to have fights where I don't think I'm going to have a fight. I'm also prepared to have victories where I don't see a victory at all. You just have to open yourself up and be prepared for everything.
Well, and you're in the political eye. or you're in the public eye, excuse me. And I think that's the one thing that, you know, whether it's being used appropriately or not, is questionable. So, you know, kind of riffing on that,
Sure.
you know, the first Black chair, and the first LGBTQIA plus chair. You know, and I know I have seen some negative stuff that has been a target on your back, which is really horrendous. But how do you think that does that help you? Does that hinder you here in DuPage County? How does that affect the work you're doing?
Um, I'm just gonna give it to you straight. It
Do it.
hurts. It does hinder me, but I don't worry about me in that regard. Where it gets me is when I step into, because when I'm being political, I have my armor up, and it is what it is. But when I step away, um, what gets me down is when the negativity is out there. Social media is a horrible place. And I know that other people that look like me are seeing it. I know that other people that are different are seeing it. And when you're the first, it hinders other people coming behind you. Like, I could talk for hours about the negativity. I could. I'm not going to. Because if I did that, then there would never be another Black or brown chair. There'd never be another LGBTQ chair, because it would be too heavy. And that's where I do allow myself to have those human moments, is when I say, my God, I don't want this. I don't want everybody who's different to have to go through this hazing period. Because in politics, there will be discourse. So I am very cognizant of when someone is disagreeing with me because of my policy, and when someone's disagreeing with me simply because I am who I am. And that's the part that I don't like. That's the part that's hindrance. That's the part that's hurtful and personal. Personal attacks on my family always are hard. Personal attacks on me are difficult. Um, Policy attacks are, that's what I'm here for. We can debate policy all day, but I do think it hurts. And more importantly, I think other Democrats who engage in that kind of activity should honestly be ashamed of themselves. Because once again, these are the bad Democrats that we have to get out of the party, not because they disagree with policy, but when you disagree with my right as a human being to breathe oxygen, and you're still telling people you're a Democrat, we have a problem. We have a serious problem. And that is when I get upset, and that is the hindrance.
That's a tough one, Ken. You know, I think your perspective on being the first, people are going to remember. People are going to look. And you know, as much as we see it as a positive, I now, that's a great perspective that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
That, you know, people are seeing the attacks coming from within our own house.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's an interesting perspective. Thank you. I always
Well,
like getting other perspectives.
you know, it's something. I was watching an interview once a long time ago, and it was with President Obama. And something he said that I never really understood until I became the chair of this party is, I met a lot of folks on the campaign trail that would tell me they weren't comfortable voting for me, but they never really said why. And then when I got elected, I would get all these reports of Democrats that were slowly switching over to the Republican side. And this is a quote from Obama. I realized it was me. And I remember seeing that on TV or something and thinking, well, that's weird. But now that I'm in this position, which is 50 million times smaller than that position, I see it, where folks that have always supported the Democratic Party, are now kind of attacking for no reason. And it is personal, and um it does make you feel some sort of way that's not positive. But where I
Mm,
turn it into a positive, because I want to end this question on a positive note. I have so much more support than naysay. I have so many people that are rooting for me to succeed and that are rooting for the party to succeed. I have, so for every 3 emails I get that tell me that I'm a horrible person, I get 13 saying, Ken, you're doing really good here. We like what you're doing there. And so where my thing is, and when it comes to criticism, and I tell this to anybody, but especially marginalized people, if you're in a position and you're only getting negative feedback from a person, don't listen to it. If you can't give me a compliment, your criticisms mean nothing to me.
Mhm.
Your boos mean nothing to me because I've seen the crap that you applaud for. So you have to have that stance. Is that when I have the same people that are throwing garbage day in, day out, I've learned to let it go. They simply have an issue with me. It has nothing to do with politics,
Mhm.
nothing to do with the party. Don't take it in. And that's where the positive comes in. I have so
Mhm.
many people around me that are so positive and who often will say, "Hey Ken, worst idea ever," and it's not personal. It's just a really bad
Well,
idea. And that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and it's usually they're the ones that have the problem, not
Yeah.
you. So you're right. I mean, it's much easier to be "Oy."
Yeah.
um okay, so I'm gonna ask one more question, then I'm gonna ask my fun question. What's your biggest fear?
Oh, okay. My biggest fear. So coincidentally, all my life I have feared death. Um,
You
I
know nobody gets out of here alive, don't you?
well, I'm gonna walk you through this.
It's 100%.
It's 100%, but I feared it, and I think it's because death was thrown at me at a young age.
Mm,
So growing up, I wasn't allowed. Not, I don't want to say allowed. My grandparents didn't really like me going to other people's homes, or so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. So we watched a lot of 2020 and Dateline, which in the 90s, not good. It was murder like all the time. So
yeah.
that was there. I unfortunately witnessed my first drive-by shooting when I was 8 years old.
Oh,
Um, I,
jeez.
I, I had a neighbor who was mentally ill, um, and she set herself on fire on the front lawn in the summer. And it's a sound I'll never forget for as long as I live. And then I watched a lot of people die. So death had always been like this horribly traumatic fear of mine. And then my grandmother passed in 2020. And I got on a plane after she passed. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid to fly. I wasn't afraid the plane was going to crash. And then I realized I'm no longer afraid of death. And it was kind of a really good feeling. I no longer feared it. And then I realized that that fear was replaced. So my biggest fear in life is Alzheimer's or dementia or memory loss. Um, because what keeps me
Oh,
grounded um, is remembering that no matter what I go through, I had some really amazing grandparents that instilled some really good values in me. And
you're making me
my
cry.
my fear, sorry, I'm being honest, my fear
No, I love it. I love it.
is that if I ever lose my memories of them,
Mm.
it will change the fabric of who I am as a person. And my value system and just having that unconditional love and knowing like even though they're not here I still feel that and the thought that that might be taken from me one day um scares the hell out of me, so that's my biggest fear is losing my memories of my grandparents.
All right. You just
Sorry.
really, no, I think that was so, that was really beautiful. That's just because my grandparents and I would hope that many of us have those kinds of memories of our grandparents
Yeah.
because that's pretty cool. Um, okay, so um, let's end on a light note.
Okay. Sorry guys.
That's all right. That's, you know what? You're such a true human that, I wouldn't expect anything other than that from you. And so I really appreciate that. Um, okay, so I have a personal, and the people that know me really well, I have a personal ultimate bucket list
Okay.
thing. So you tell me yours first, and then I'll tell you mine.
My bucket, what's on my bucket list?
Ultimate thing on your bucket list. The
Oh
thing that you
God.
just really, really, really in your life want to check off.
Um, that is that is a good one. So for years it was um um wow, this is gonna sound really arrogant. Like everything that I've really put on my list has happened. Like I wanted to run for public office one day. I didn't win, but I did it. Um I wanted Madonna to know I was alive, and she acknowledged me at a concert one night, so that was
That's so
awesome.
cool.
Um, uh, uh, um, my God, I met President Obama. What's on my bucket list? My bucket list is, you know, I okay. So what I want to do before I depart this plane is to travel to different countries alone. Um, I don't have. I think that would be the ultimate thing for me because travel. I don't like flying. I'm not afraid of it anymore. Um, so, but I'm not a fan of it either because I think if God wanted me up there, I would have been born flying. So, but so so getting on a plane alone and checking into a hotel room alone and going through, a country where I might not speak the language alone and going to a rest. I think that's my ultimate thing. So that's my bucket list. I want to travel the world maybe for a week or two alone with
That's
no
pretty
cell
cool.
phone.
Okay, now you lost me on that one,
Yeah, no,
dude.
I want to
But
be disconnected. I want to be
yeah,
alone. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Well, I'll tell you mine. I know it
please.
wasn't supposed to be political, but I want to get arrested for being a rabble rouser.
I wasn't expecting.
No, I mean, seriously, mine
Whew,
isn't. I don't know if mine is as fun, but we
I
know
don't.
that there were a couple of folks just a month or two ago from Naperville who got arrested for working in DC protesting for voting rights.
Well, that's a
Um,
good reason to get arrested.
I
So
know. See, that's what I want to do. So
yes,
anyway, well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. It's always wonderful to see so many wonderful faces, and it's always incredible to talk to my buddy Ken Mejia Beal.
thank you.
And you know that those of us at Illinois Now are with you, and we just really continue hoping to work with you and the folks in the DuPage Dems.
Absolutely. I look forward to working with you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night,
you so much,
everyone.
and keep up the great work.
Thank you.